where we last left off, you guys had broken out of jail, and finally all the parties been all caught up with each other, got to spread some revelations they had, mostly gained from Cormac, both to Catalina and each other. And then Cormac and Nostra had a heart-to-heart while burying the unnamed carnival worker who was the first to join your guys' crusade, who was not already invested in it in a way that they were trying to vie for power. Lena, what are you up to?
I think the last thing I said with Lena is that she goes into her office and has pulled down a bunch of maps, and she is working with her closest generals and other people. I don't know what the militaristic term is, but whoever's directly underneath her to get all the information that she's missed from the last 3 months and to see where the worst of the siege is now happening.
Cool. Roll me a scholarship check.
Okay.
This is just for useful tidbits. It's not like if you do poorly, it's not like you're losing anything.
Is that scholarship and wits?
I think wits. I can't see the other ones really. Maybe resolve.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
I think wits works better.
Oh, and then I haven't used scholarship yet. 3 raises.
All right. So you spend the next several hours catching up on what has been going on. It seems with the Hell Portal has been not growing and shrinking a little bit, but not enough to be comfortable. It is not growing in size, it is going down a little bit, but it is also still very large. It's not like a dramatic shrinking. With that, your subordinates have told you that the bog lurchers have ramped up their attack. They are, between that and the werewolves, they are ready for this to be done. They're tired of sieging you. They're doing a full-out attack. Full-out being relative. They are like renewed vigor, launching different siege engine, like having trebuchets firing pretty consistently. The fact that not more of the town is in ruins is a miracle. With just how constant their stuff is. There are now fire brigades that your team has set up to help put out, like, flaming tar balls that they fire over. And they have had middling success with that, but having someone who used a lot of fire magic, they were a little bit more prepared for how to deal with fire than the common citizen, which has helped. They can point out where the wall's weakest to you on a map. I don't have a specific location, but, like, there are weaker areas along where they were sieging on the east side that are looking worse for wear. As of right now, the bog lurchers have not made a full attack to breach the city, but it looks like that is ramping up.
And they're located to the south and east?
Yes.
Okay.
So on the map, like, Oratrios, like, the southwest is, like, the bay.
Yeah.
The north is where, like, the north...
It's like mountains, kind of, right?
Yeah, Hedendidios is in the northwest, I believe.
Thought it was northeast, but yeah. Hardindios.
The map,
is in the northeast.
Northeast. The werewolves are around there prowling, so it's dangerous up there. And then they're to the east and somewhat to the south.
The bog lurchers are to the east
Yes.
and south, yeah.
What are Fake Alina's guards doing right now? If anything, against the siege?
They are not doing anything for the outer walls. They have been securing the palace and making sure that it is fortified, from what your agents can tell you.
So they've abandoned the city?
They're still there because they're defending the palace. They haven't abandoned the city as in they've left. They've just pulled back.
So it's like a skeleton crew on the walls of the city.
Yeah, it's more like there are still guards out there that are run by Senior Santiago, which are different than Fake Alina's guards. Sorry. The palace guards have just battened down the hatches, and any presence that Fake Alina had in the city, she has pulled back.
Okay.
Senior Santiago has diminished scale, not because there's less of them out there, just because there's so much ground they need to cover now.
They're spread thin.
Yes. Any other questions?
Who do I currently have for, and I'm talking general, because, so right now, I guess we have the Duke's Rebellion, which is not very big. Gravediggers, I assume, are not specifically fighters. What fighters do I have?
You don't really have trained fighters in the way that you're used to. You guys have... The Duke's Rebellion is there, and they were the people who were more guerrilla fighters doing stuff to annoy the guards and try to take the city back from them. You have anyone who survived from the carnival or circus that Nostroy was working on training before you got captured, which was a decently sized force. It probably doubled the size of what you had, but they're still rather new. Outside of that, you haven't done a ton more recruiting. You've picked up some people here and there, but you do not have a army-sized force. You have a militia-sized force.
Are the bog lurchers focusing on the weak parts of the wall right now?
That is where they seem to be amassing.
Okay.
How is Lena dealing with all of the revelations about the Duke doing something terrible and wiping her mind?
Oh, she's pissed. She is trying to keep that under control at the moment by throwing herself into figuring out what to do about the current situation. But she is... Those that know her can tell that something is just like brewing just underneath the surface and is about to explode.
All right. Sigurthur, what are you up to?
Can't remember what did I say I was going to do once we got out?
I do not remember.
Did I go with someone?
I didn't hear anything in my edit, so...
Did you think you were going to go talk to, like, duelists or something?
See, I don't remember.
Okay. Yeah, because we all, like, met in the Gravediggers area, and then Cormac and Nostroy went and buried the guy.
Yeah. And Mandy mentioned she was going to go off and do stuff with her group.
Okay.
I mean, if there's anyone you want to talk to, if you can go talk to Lena if you want. Or you can talk... Basically, the world is your oyster.
Yeah, I think Sigurthur would have gone with Lena because Sigurthur was kind of more involved with the outside conflicts, right?
Yes.
So I think Sigurthur would have gone with to see the state of the siege.
So what I'll say, what you did, Sigurthur, is instead of... Lena did like the internal talking with her generals. You had people show you it more in person, so you were able to verify things, see where the walls weak, see the different siege weapons they have, how their forces are amassing, to get a better picture of that. It gave you basically the same picture that Lena got from her things, but you were able to see a little bit, see it in person, do more of a head count for your own thoughts.
Okay.
Is there anything additionally you'd like to know? Or a scene you want to have with anyone to talk with you while you're doing this?
I guess one thing I would want to look for is how, because the werewolves had been kind of like giving them a little trouble, like kind of trying to mess with them. Are they like actively fighting them or not at the moment?
They're probably doing it under cover of night. What you do notice from, because you've been up here before, the difference is there's much more of a defensive perimeter now than there was when you first were here in the city. Before, they were just kind of like orderly tents, but they were still tense. Now you can see there is like spike barricades on the edge, like of like trees they chop down and sharpen into spikes, which gives you the idea that the werewolves have been much more present in attacking, and they haven't just been lounging around in their siege in the same way that they were before.
So I think after I kind of survey this scene, I think Sigurthur's going to go find Lena.
So it's been a little bit of time. Lena is buried deep. As you walk into the room, you see Adriana, who was de facto leader of this and leader of the Duke's Rebellion previously, leave the room. Have fun. I hope you're ready.
Thanks, I guess.
Lena has maps strewn about her with different supply routes and notes jotted down around. It looks... And you can correct me if you think she does this differently, but it looks very much like a freshman college student cramming for all of their finals at the same time.
I'd say she's pretty organized about it.
Okay.
I think she's mostly, staring at the portion of the map where the weaknesses in the walls are, and just, brow furrowed and just hands just, rubbing her temples and under her chin, just, staring at it. And when she hears Sigurthur come in, She glances up and then looks back at the map. I'm going to guess that you've gotten the same bad news that I have.
Yes, I just took a look at the siege outside, and it's not looking very good.
No, and unfortunately, I think I'm going to have to throw you in the hot seat.
Oh?
I think we're going to have to figure out how to get people from the Duelist Guild or the Cultus Falce or anyone that you seem to have ties to on our side in order to have any chance to stop the siege here and here specifically, because otherwise these walls are going to come down.
I can definitely talk to the Duelist Guild. I might be able to convince them. Cultus Falce, I'm not so sure about.
Magdalena shrugs. Honestly, anyone at this point would be helpful. It depends on how much any of these people want Trios to actually still be around. Because we don't have the fighters right now.
I'll do my best. I'll go talk to both of them and see what I can scrounge up. Are you doing okay?
As okay as I'm going to be at the moment. I'm just going to ignore a few things because I don't want to deal with them. And there's other more pressing things that we need to deal with first.
Okay, if you change your mind and want to talk about any of it, I'm willing to listen.
I appreciate that, but I think for now, we have to move fast. Otherwise, like I said, they're going to breach the walls.
So you guys start figuring this out. Being out, you are able to feel the general vibe of how things are going. You realize that you have more than hours and probably more than days, but you can't really track this in months. So you have time to think. It's not like you're about to be breached today, but judging by it is, you have a few weeks. You guys start to scramble around and do what you can to shore up defenses, get your bearings under you, and figure things out. Cormac, you said you wanted to talk with Catalina.
Yep.
So a couple days later, you guys have gotten your bearings under you, you figured out the state of things. You are able to find Catalina in what serves as her office. I don't know if offices existed this time, but that general vibe where she's planning things. She is currently alone studying a map while you see some potions bubbling behind her in beakers and flasks.
He kind of knocks on the door. If it's open, he'll still knock just to
it's open
himself.
and
yeah.
You walk in, you see she looks a little bit more disheveled than when you not last saw her, but saw her months ago.
Right, yeah.
These past few months have been hard on her, and the first meeting you had with her, you weren't able to really see this, but there is a lot more. The bags under her eyes are deeper. There seems to be less of that perfect appearance that you've known her to upkeep as being a member of nobility all throughout your voyages, and even up through coming back to town. There are cracks in this facade, and she looks tired, but she also looks resolved in a way that you have not really seen her before. She knows what she's doing, even if it's hard and even if it's desperate.
Mm-hmm. Mind if I come in?
Oh, hey, Cormac. How's it going?
Oh, I bet it's as bad as anybody else, but can't complain about that, I guess.
It's pretty rough. How are you holding up with everything? Because I am not.
I got a lot of other things to focus on, so that helps. I really just wanted to come by and apologize. I've been kind of an arse to you, and I know it's been a few months now, but I just wanted to say I'm sorry. I know that it hasn't been easy running this alone, and I think you're doing a good job. Not that you need me to say that, but, it's not unnoticed. And whatever you need me to do, even if it's not glamorous, I can do it. So, anyway, what do you have bubbling back there? Did you take up a new hobby?
I mean, hobby's relative. With raiding the Sorcerers of Pote's library, we found how to do alchemy. Learning how to melt locks is really useful, and how we were going to break you out.
Yeah, I should say so.
So, that it's been useful, and there's some other stuff we can do, or I can do, I guess. I've been studying that in all of my abundant free time. But thank you, Cormac. That means a lot to me. I won't pretend that I wasn't mad at the time.
And you had plenty of good reason to be.
But
let's be honest here.
I mean, I wasn't going to say it. It's called tact, Cormac.
You would know and I wouldn't.
But I am very glad that you and Nostra and Lena and Sigurthur are back. I have missed you all, and I'm hoping you all don't leave for good because of everything that happened.
Catalina, we've gone through years at sea, and
I thought you were going to say worse, and I was about to smack you.
No, I just mean it's in a series of,
unfortunate events, maybe?
Yeah, you could say that. I'm sure it'll become a popular phrase in the future. It's been a whole series of adventures, so we say, and, we haven't left yet, and I don't think any of us are planning to.
Are you sure? I don't know. Nostra seems a little upset, to put it lightly, and I don't think anyone else is taking it particularly well.
Again, not, everyone has a reason to, but I think
I get it.
How are you taking it?
Oh, horribly. Absolutely terribly. Not only did I find out that my father was a bad person, he made me forget my sister, and I've also figured out that everything that we are doing, we have no claim to this throne. So I have to deal with that, and we kind of have to figure out what we want to do now.
We don't have to keep going along the same track that we were, given that we have new information. We can maybe expand, bring more people to the table.
I mean, that doesn't seem like a bad idea.
I think it's a conversation worth having with everybody.
Yeah, I've just been putting it off. If I don't have this conversation, then my friends won't leave if I say the wrong thing. I can't say the wrong thing if we don't have this conversation.
I get that. I didn't tell you how long I was standing in the hallway before I walked in.
See, tact is not asking you to tell me. This is an object lesson for you, Cormac.
Got it.
No, but I think you're right. I think we need to at least pull in you all, and probably Friar Lewis, and Adriana would probably kill me if I did not include her.
Yeah, I think it's a conversation worth having, and I think we can handle it. We can make something new.
I hope so. I really do. Because this is pretty bad.
But hey, we're all back together. That makes it 20 bit better, right?
It does. I'm glad you're back, Cormac.
Glad to be back, I gotta say.
Alright, as these days pass, well, the past few days, Sigurthur, you're heading to the Duelist Guild.
Yes.
Are you taking anyone with you?
I wasn't planning to.
Cool. That's fine. So you head back into the Duelist Guild. It is that flat building, one-story building that you remember from before. I imagine it with kind of a little Spanish architecture, like the very flat-looking walls. I don't know, is it Spanish or is it just Hispanic? I don't know architecture is what I'm learning. I just imagine it like Florida architecture, which is probably wrong.
With the stucco.
Yeah, the stucco, and then the
clay tile roofs.
Yep, the clay tile roofs.
Yep.
Is how I imagine this. One story, there's a lot of space in the center. There's a giant courtyard in the middle, where the dueling typically happens, especially when the weather is good. There's also a dueling hall that is covered for when it is not. You are led in, and you are easily able to find Seraphine, who is the leader of the Duelist Guild. You walk in on her finishing up a duel, or at least dueling practice. You see that she is a very competent fighter. She's put a lot of time into her technique. She's very efficient with her movements, not doing a lot of flourishes or anything, which is a little different from what you're used to seeing in the Duelist Guild. A lot of people tend to make a show of it, where she is not that. She gets the job done, in, out. She wins duels, and that's what she does. Sigurthur, how are you?
Question, did she know my actual name? I can't remember.
I can't remember. It doesn't matter.
Because I'm trying to remember if we encountered her.
She saw you at the party, and I don't remember if she knew your name at that point.
Okay, I don't remember either.
We're going to say she knows your name. It does not matter.
Okay.
You guys are known entities.
Because the first time I met her, I definitely gave her a fake name.
Yeah. That would be what a good DM would write down. Anyway, you have me. What can I do for you, Sigurthur?
It's good to see you too, Seraphine. This is unfortunately not going to be a pleasant conversation.
They never are with you.
I'm sure you're aware of the siege that's been going on for a long time.
No. What? Please, tell me about this siege.
Well, it's getting worse. And when I say worse, I mean...
What? No. I'm sorry, I'm being dramatic. Yes, the siege is getting worse, Sigurthur.
It's where they're actually, trying to break in. Previously, they were just content on trying to starve us out and occasionally throwing rocks over, and now they're actually trying to break down the walls. And we think the walls are going to fall very soon. And I'm trying to figure out a way to put this siege down once and for all, and for lack of a better way of putting it, trying to scrounge up fighters.
So, what are you offering us? Sigurthur, you know how this works. We are commission-based. You have to hire us, we don't just lend our swords.
I guess I say it's less of hiring the Duelist Guild to fight for me as more of the Duelist Guild fighting for itself, because if they breach the walls, we're all doomed.
Are we? Every city needs a Duelist Guild. If we don't fight back and just barricade ourselves in, how are we doomed?
I mean, you might be able to last a while, but do you think you'd be able to last forever with the massive army out there?
I don't need to last forever. I just need to last long enough for this sieging and pillaging to be done. Then we open up shop.
I don't think that they are going to just stop at sieging and pillaging. I think they are razing the city to the ground.
Then why are they sieging it? Why are they trying to break in if they want to burn it all to the ground?
So, did I know Seraphine from before we left the city many years ago?
I don't remember. I think she was... Let me see.
I think... I feel like I remember the first time I met her that I did know who she was, but she wasn't the, leader at the time or something.
I think that sounds familiar. She was, higher up, but she was definitely not the leader before. So you probably knew of her. You probably didn't know her.
Trying to decide whether I take a risk or not. The answer is probably yes.
Do it.
Take a risk. Take a risk.
So, how do you feel about our Duchess?
I mean, she's let the city go to shit. So, I don't really like her.
Understandable. How would you feel if I told you that the Catalina that you have known in the city for the last few years, I don't remember how long it's been, is not the actual Catalina? I don't know if you remember, but I was part of the Duke's Guard many years ago, and when the Duke was assassinated, which wasn't us, by the way, a lot of people think it wasn't, we fled with Catalina to keep her safe. And when we came back to town, there was someone calling themselves Catalina on the throne, but it's definitely not Catalina. And we have now recently learned that it is Catalina's estranged sister, who apparently the Duke has made everyone forget about. I know there's a lot to take in. I know you probably don't believe me. But I figured I got to start trusting somebody.
How does this change anything, Sigurthur?
So, again, this might be another leap of faith, but the siege out there is caused by the fake Catalina on the throne. She has a vendetta against her father, the former Duke, and wants to wipe Eretros and her father's legacy off the map. That's why the siege out there is actually not so much a siege as a army to wipe this place off the map.
So what you're saying is I should get out and leave while I can.
Or you could help us fight back and protect the city.
I'll tell you what, Sigurthur. You get promises from the real Catalina or whoever it is you follow. You get promises from her that we'll be handsomely rewarded when this is all done. If we win, we'll fight for you. But until then, our answer is no. We fight for money, and that is it.
I understand. I'll see what I can do.
You leave a little glummed out by your good reasoning that fell on deaf ears. All right. After her conversation with Cormac, Catalina does ask you all to meet and brings you together at your guys' earliest convenience. You guys She is waiting there when you arrive at a round table with chairs, her presuming that this is going to be a longer discussion, a not podcast-sized conversation. Their Friar Lewis is there, looking like his squid monster self. Catalina has maps that she's still marking stuff down on and trying to figure out the best way to where to position troops, not taking that away from Lena, but kind of like trying to like keep everything up to date and talk between different groups of people. Adriana is also there, like helping her with that when you all roll up. I'm assuming you all come, by the way.
We do.
No, Catalina invited all of us and none of us show up.
How long has it been since we got out to when we had this conversation?
Figure the 2 scenes that just happened were 2 days after you got out. This is probably day 3. Does it need to be earlier for Nostra not to pack up his bags and leave?
No, I think it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
If there's something that I am not thinking of, you can let me know. I'm not.
There's a lot of things Yostroy wants to do, but I don't necessarily think they had to happen before this, so it's fine.
Okay. Don't worry, you'll get your time. I'm just trying to space things out and keep things.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I'm not mad.
Yeah, so before we actually do this full scene, if there's any conversation someone wants to have with Catalina before this is your point of no return for this conversation. All right, we're moving forward.
Yeah, Magdalena comes in, she sets up her stuff. She doesn't address Catalina right now.
I think Yostroy just kind of like sits in a chair, sort of like glumly, just like 1,000-yard stare off into space.
Is Cormac doing the hiccup thing, the 2 thumbs up from the back?
I think Cormac looks more serious than he usually does, but less serious than everyone else.
Sigarthur, how do you look?
I mean, not happy, wouldn't say. Kind of maybe got a little scowl on her face.
So we run the gambit of like serious to very mad. Great energy from this meeting. It's basically every meeting I've ever been in that should have been an email.
So what brings us all here, Catalina?
Well, I think we need to figure out what to do next. So I'm not the rightful heir of this city, and we should decide what that means, because the rightful heir wants to burn this place to the ground. We have a group of other nobility who I presume wants to take control outside the city, and then there's us and what we stand for, which was my father's legacy, but apparently that sucks and I don't want to stand for that anymore.
Neither do I.
It's pretty bad what he did, and I don't know what more to say about it. That just doesn't feel like, well, duh. But I don't know where to go forward from here, and I brought in the people that I'm closest to and that I trust the most, hoping we could figure something out, but I don't know. I don't know if you guys still want to be here, if you all want to pack up and leave and go on your way, if this is the end of our little crew and you guys want to get out before it gets bad, but I don't think I can do that. So if you want out, I guess now is the time. I'm not trying to force anyone out, but I don't know. Then she kind of trails off, unsure of herself.
I won't speak for everyone else, but for myself, I pledged my life to serve you, and what the Duke did was terrible. You are not responsible for your father's crimes, if that makes sense. So I don't see a reason to go anywhere. I'm still here to help you with whatever you want. I guess that the other question is, do you still want to be the Duchess? Do you want to be on that throne?
I don't know if I want anyone on the throne. Like,
seems ripe. If we do it that way, it seems ripe for a repeat of what happened with your father.
Or what happened with the bog lurchers, or like, this doesn't seem to be working.
Yostroy kind of like looks up at this point, like kind of confusedly at all of you and just goes, "What throne? There is no throne. You're sitting in the best throne we have at the moment. and are currently trying to tell me that you don't feel like you deserve to sit in it. I've never served you because of your lineage. I don't think the question that you need to be asking yourself right now is, do you want to get to sit on a cool seat once we control the city? Do you want to do what's necessary to control the city still?
Yes, I do.
And maybe let me put this a different way. Yostroy kind of like looks down at the table and is casting around for the right words. All of these things are curses. I don't mean to belabor my own way of coming to be here, my own path, but what you are talking about doing is not nice, and it will not be pleasant for you, or for us, or for anyone in this city. The best case scenario is we can convince armed, dangerous people to give up power that they have held for generations to try to figure out a different way to handle the management of the chunk of the world that we are living in, which will either result in civil war or us having a target on our back in the rest of the world. That is going to be a miserable, grueling experience that will be marked with constant conflict. Now, if that is what you desire to do, I have a suggestion, which is cast off doubt, because we do not have time for it at this moment. I agree. There is some pretty miserable stuff that we will need to address eventually. But right now, the city is burning, there are murderers at the door, and we do not have time for doubt. If you wish to lead, and throw off the shackles of whatever gave you the right to do so.
Can I have one of those stories with an easy lesson sometimes?
Yostroy lights a fire on the table and goes, if no one manages the fire, the table burns.
No, sir, put it out now.
You put it out. You're the one that wants to do this. And Yostroy gets up and walks away from the fire. This is what we are asking of you. I'm not asking you to then get a reward from it. I'm asking you to not let the city fall now.
She scrambles around, in a pouch next to her for a minute. You hear clinking of vials when she finally pulls something out, and she chucks it onto the fire, and it is like an explosive foam that covers it. Please do not burn my table again. I get it. We're going to take back the city. We're going to depose of the nobility. Whatever that means. Other country has done that. But I need to know that you guys are with me then.
Yostroy looks down again at the burnt spot on the table and looks back at her and goes, I have never been with you. I have been with the people of this city. I have been with trying to keep mass death from wandering randomly through this city and killing more people than it needs to. That is the only person I have ever been with. My loyalty has never been to you, to your father, to anyone else at this table. It has always been to the people. If you serve them, I serve you.
Bullshit. I don't think that's what you thought when we were on the run, on the high seas.
Yostroy looks down and goes, yeah, I have a soft spot for a child, but you're not that anymore.
I guess I'm saying just because things were different than you thought doesn't mean how you felt at the time was wrong or wasn't there.
I'm not saying I blame Catalina for her sister or that. Now, that is its own thing that... And Yostroy again just kind of stares off. That's its own issue that I will have to work through on my own, but I don't believe it directly impacts what's happening now. Your sister aside, the bog lurchers are going to break through those gates and start killing people pretty soon. So, I think that's our next challenge.
I would agree.
Do we know what they want? Do they want to run the city? What's their claim here?
I don't know. They seem to be from The the long ago family that ruled here before we rose up the first time and installed my family as rulers.
Do they have land of their own? Do they have a city of their own?
I haven't been able to parley with them. Mostly because I didn't want to go out there and get killed by them.
Fair, it's hard to parley when you're not, the figurehead parleying.
Right. And also, you guys have made it abundantly clear that I should not be wandering out and doing stuff like that, which, in this case, I wholeheartedly agreed and did not do.
We would have had words about it, yeah.
Yeah, I figured.
That's true. That being said, your near immortal, master of, what was it? Propaganda? He's disposable and also almost impossible to kill.
Well, that was what I was going to ask you to do next. So, if you guys want to go out and talk with the bog lurchers and figure out why they're here and see if we can get rid of them peacefully, I'm all for it. I don't think it will work, and I would bring your swords with you. And maybe an extra dagger in case.
Why do we think we are getting rid of them?
Okay, they could be great. We can install them. I don't think they're going to be good. But what do I know?
That's actually a good question. Do we have a reason to think they are... I mean, because their family sucked like 10 generations ago? Your family sucked 1 generation ago.
Yeah, I know, I'm dealing with that. I just figured that out 3 months ago. It's been the trip. Also, it's not even 1 generation ago. My sister is burning the city to the ground, so I think it's kind of sucking now.
Well, I think your sister is a product, but that's another thing to deal with.
I mean, yes, I don't think it's all her fault, but I think she is going too far.
So we talk to the bog lurchers, find out what their interests are, and then regroup.
Who's hoping they're into board games?
Maybe you can sway them with miniature figures on a board.
If I have to stare at more miniature armies on the board anymore, I might go insane.
Fair.
I've been doing
Too many maps for anybody. Anyway, I think that's something we can do, right, gang? Lena, you've been awfully quiet.
Lena has been sitting and taking all of this in, and you can still tell there is a lot simmering at the moment. And when you finally say that to her, she looks up and she looks over at Catalina. I think it is unsurprising that I've had a lot on my mind on these past few days, considering everything that we have found out. Oratrios is my home, and I am going to make sure that we make it a safe place. But at this point, I very much agree with Nostroy. If you want it, you need to actually step up, because since we've gotten back to the city, you have not shown me that you can be a leader. The decisions that you have made have been poor, and you are supposed to be the person that we are rallying behind. If you want to be that person, you need to understand that the rest of us are disposable, and you need to not treat us the way that you have been.
I'm going to say I don't love being disposable. I think maybe...
Okay, maybe Cormac isn't disposable. I am disposable. You cannot do what you did, Catalina. If you are supposed to be the head of what we are trying to do here, you cannot say, oh, I missed my friends. You cannot put yourself in that kind of danger anymore. This is serious at this point. I've had this talk with you probably 3 times since we've been back in the city. And with everything else going on, this has pushed me over the edge. So if you want to be a leader, I need you to choose to be that leader. Because otherwise all of this is for nothing.
If the leader you want me to be is to treat you as disposable, then I'm sorry. You should find someone else.
Then you should not do this. We should leave.
You should not do it.
And no.
Okay, then leave. I'm not going to... Because, no, look at me. Look at me, Nostra. I am talking now. You are not disposable. No one in this room is disposable. And yes, people will die, and I will have to make hard decisions. But do you know why these problems happen? Is because we treat people as disposable. The farmers are not disposable. No one in this town is disposable, damn it. You guys act like you're disposable because you're not the leader. If I die, someone else will take this up. I don't want this to be it has to be me. It doesn't have to be me. Because as soon as we do that, we're no better than what we have put in place already. Because it had to be my father. It had to be me. Guess what? I'm second in line. I'm disposable now. We need a system that doesn't rely on it being all on one person. Because one person is flawed. We have no balance to anything. My father decided to wipe the whole town's memory because he made the mistake and he didn't want to deal with it, and no one had a say in that. Is that okay? No. He treated everyone's memory as disposable. You all seem to take umbrage with that, which I agree with. I am not the only indisposable person in this city. Everyone has a life and a meaning, and if you think I'm wrong about that, you can leave.
We can have that that can be how we approach things once we are back in power. Right now, we need the rallying point. We need you to be the rallying point. We don't have a rallying point if you are gone.
We have a magic amulet that can make anyone look like me. We have infinite rallying points.
Yostroi looks up and goes, "No, I will say, do not sell your place short. You're not literally a mascot. That's not what we're asking you to be. What we are asking you to be is realistic about what you are asking of all of us. Like, you tell us to deal with a rip in the sky that might kill some of us. And yes, I agree with Magdalena. The notion of you breaking into a palace with one werewolf as a bodyguard to melt us out of jail seems like something you should delegate. I'm not saying leave us there to die for no reason. I'm saying be willing to delegate. And also be willing to understand what we're asking you to do is be a person that makes hard decisions. Like going, I cannot throw the lead, and I get what you're saying. It would be nice if anyone could pick up and lead for you right away. But I do not believe that is the case. Right now, we are pretty short on manpower and particularly leaders. Like, okay, let's say the worst is to happen. The 5 of us die. I don't know who actually is there to take the place. The leader of the werewolves, he nearly killed us. There's the Duke's Rebellion. They've been fighting, street battles for 5 years. There's there's Friar Lewis. He's a pacifist. All right? There is a purpose to a martial leader. That's who we're asking you to be. I'm not saying you have to treat us like we're meaningless, but that does not mean to not exercise wisdom. For example, let us go talk to the bog lurchers. You stay here. Martial forces.
That was already going to happen. You can go talk to them. Figure it out. Parlay with them if you can. Well, I guess it's all parlay.
And if we get captured, send the werewolves to get us! Just the werewolves!
I think Catalina here has a point about maybe spreading around some of the balance of power here. Not that we should do anything about that immediately, but I think it's worth putting a pin in that making unilateral decisions maybe has gone poorly and we should consider a different method.
And that is a wonderful thing to think about when we actually have the time to think about it.
I guess I'm saying I think I'm okay with it being sooner rather than later. Let's go talk to the bog lurchers, fine. But when we come back, I think that figuring out a way, at least a plan that Catalina can spearhead, but a plan that isn't just her on a pedestal would be good. I think pedestals could use more than one leg. They're sturdier that way.
All right. You're all great. Get out of here. Go talk to them.
Yes, Mom.
Hey Wanderers, thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Corsairs of Castille. This game is being run in the 7th Sea 2nd Edition system. If you want to hear more content from the Wandering Gamer Network, you can check us out at the Wandering Gamer Network website. We stream on Twitch with the username wandering_gamers, and we're also on Facebook and Instagram. All information about the music used can be found in the episode description. Until next time, wherever you wander, may you find your way home.